Hello, this is lesson 5. I can't believe that we're already at lesson 5, and I really hope you're doing very well with your sentence patterns. We have a new one today. This one's actually very easy and it's fun. This one and next lessons are both easy, but you have to pay very close attention so that you can really fully understand how to be sure when you get to a sentence what sentence pattern it is. We are going to start this class by grading your quiz. So if you will get your quiz out, I will start grading it. I want you to have a colored pen so that you can mark the answers. If they are wrong, you can make the corrections. Here we are. Lesson 5, the sentence pattern, as you can see, it under the lesson 5 is noun, linking verb, noun 1. We'll be finding out all about that shortly. I am going to go right through this very quickly so that we'll have plenty of time for our class. Cross out prepositional phrases, label the sentences, and diagram them. Now, we will not diagram all of them. We may, there's only 6, so we could probably do that. I'm going to mark out about her birthday. This is Becky told Danny a secret about her birthday. About her birthday prepositional phrase. Verb is told. Becky is who told. Becky told what? Becky told secret. This is your direct object. That is what is that was told. That's the object that was told. Who was told? To whom? Or for whom or of whom? This would be Becky told secret to whom? Noun 3 is Danny. That's the indirect object that is receiving the object. Number 2, Don gave her his promise of silence. Of silence is a prepositional phrase. Gave is the verb. Don is the subject. Don gave what? Promise. That's the direct object. And her would be the indirect object. It's a pronoun, but it's indirectly a pronoun. Indirectly a noun. Number 3, Mrs. Jones was giving Christy a surprise party for her birthday. For her birthday prepositional phrase. Was giving is the verb. You do want was giving because of the helping verb there. Mrs. Jones is the subject. Oh, there's a crazy N. And party is your direct object. Mrs. Jones was giving party to whom? Christy. Now, please remember, you cannot have this sentence pattern. Noun, verb, noun 2, noun 3. You look back on your list, that is not a sentence pattern. The noun 3 always comes before the noun 2. So don't get confused and give the noun after the verb. Don't give it a noun 2 unless there is no other noun in the sentence. There's another noun in the sentence. It's either a compound noun or it will be an indirect object. Number 4, she had mailed Becky an invitation on Monday. On Monday is the prepositional phrase. Mailed is the verb. Had mailed is that helping verb. So let's do this. She had mailed what? Invitation is the direct object. To whom? Becky is the indirect object. If you find that you're having to make corrections, pause between each one so you can do that and not get lost. I don't want you to be listening to me go ahead while you're trying to fix the problem before. So just make sure you go ahead and pause that. Number 5, Mrs. Jones handed Danny an invitation. I do not see any prepositional phrases here. What's happening in the sentence is handed. Mrs. Jones is who handed it. And what did she hand or who did she hand? Now, because we have, she did give something to Danny, but we need to find out what she gave, because she didn't give Danny to invitation, right? So we're going to say handed invitation, which is your direct object, to whom? Danny. Okay, there's your indirect object. Number 6, they asked Mrs. Jones a question about the party details. About the party details is your prepositional phrase. Asked is your verb. Who asked? They asked. They asked what? Question to whom? Mrs. Jones, or of whom? Probably of whom. And they wanted her to give the answer. Down here, there's usually some confusion, so I wanted to make sure that we went over this. You are to add an indirect object to the following sentence. I don't want you to add a prepositional phrase. For example, did anyone bring a present? Let's say it was, whose birthday was it? Becky's birthday. So let's talk about Becky here. Did anyone bring a present for Becky? Now, if I write this, Becky is not a noun 3. She can't be a noun 3 because she's in a prepositional phrase. If I need to add an indirect object, I'm going to take Becky and move her right here after the preposition, right after the verb. Did anyone bring Becky a present? Now you have did bring as the verb, anyone, subject. Anyone bring what? Present is the direct object. Becky is now your indirect object. That's where that's going to fit, because you want to have noun, verb, noun 3, noun 2. That's the sentence pattern. I gave a funny one. Well, we have verb here, and we have the subject, I gave. One is your noun 2. So instead of putting a prepositional phrase here, which we don't want to do because we need to add a noun 3, we need to put one right here after gave. That's where the indirect object goes. I gave her a funny one. There's your indirect object. You can choose any name you want, anything you want there. Christy sent a thank you note. I need an indirect object. I have a verb, sent. I have a subject, Christy. I have note, which is the direct object, but who received the note? Christy sent note to whom? Danny. It could be anyone. I'm just writing Danny. It's just you need to have a name there in that spot for it to be your noun 3. I hope that this is less confusing for you. If it was confusing, I hope that you did a great job on this. I am going to clear it. So if you need to pause it now. In 3, 2, 1, clear. This is going to be your quiz for today. You have 3 different types of sentences, sentence patterns, and you will need to figure out which sentence pattern each sentence is. Okay, so this is the one for today. It's about Vincent van Gogh, a very famous artist from the 1800s. I hope you enjoy learning a little bit about him. I actually have a video of this quiz being graded. So you will be able to watch that when you're finished and grade it. And hopefully you will not have any trouble with this. I do want to go back to this quiz. I did forget to show you how to label these. We were supposed to diagram them, so I do want to diagram them for you. When you set up the diagram, it needs to look like this. The subject will go here, the first place, which is Becky. I will not diagram every one. I'm going to look through and see if there's anything that's unusual. Becky. Told is the verb, which is the second one. And then secret is the direct object. Who received the secret being told to them? And that would be Danny. You would write this right here. It's the same thing on the next one. I'm going to probably get a little crowded here. So I hope that you can see well. Dawn gave promise is here in the third spot. Her is here. Okay, I'm going to clear this out. Now we're on to number 3. Mrs. Jones was giving Christy. Let's draw this out here. Oh, sorry, it's not right. You have Mrs. Jones right here. Okay, I'm going to shorten it just for time's sake. Was giving is here. Was giving. Invitation is in that third line. And Becky is in this one here because she's the indirect object. On number 4, there's nothing unusual about that. You would put she in the first line here. Okay, let me see if I could just go back through and kind of undo some of the stuff. I'll erase this part so that we can just leave the same one up. Okay. We now have she had mailed okay. We now have she had mailed invitation sorry, I'm running out of room there. And who was receiving the invitation? Becky. Number 5, Mrs. Jones. Mrs. Jones here. Handed is the verb. Invitation. Danny. This writing is very messy. They ask Mrs. Jones a question. It's the same idea. You're going to have they here, asked here, question here, and then right down here is Mrs. Jones. All right, I hope you have all of those correct. Let's get started. N-LV-N1 stands for subject, linking verb, predicate, nominative. Always linking verbs and sometimes linking verbs. You must have this in a list, and it would be good if you were very familiar, like possibly memorizing them just so that you're familiar with them. Always the linking verbs are very much the same as the be verbs. Is, was, were, will be, shall be, am, are, been. It's all in how it's being used in the sentence. Sometimes a linking verb is taste, feel, felt, which is a past tense, smell, become, or became. These are just some of them. Seem, appear, remain, grow, grew, sound, look. These are ones that you will probably be the most often that you would see if you're going to see sometimes linking verbs. And I'm going to explain how those work here in just right here. Examples for sometimes a linking verb. Going to use the word smelled. The rose smelled sweet. Write this down. The rose smelled sweet. Now, the rose can't actively smell, right? And Rose doesn't have a nose and going around smelling. I smell you would be an action verb. But if I said, I smell bad, in other words, I stink, then it's no longer an action verb, becomes a linking verb. The rose smelled sweet. Smelled is a linking verb there. It's linking rose to sweet. It's connecting them, and you'll understand that better here in just a few minutes. Number 2, the cake tastes delicious. Tastes is another thing, a linking verb that is sometimes a linking verb and sometimes an action verb. Cake does not have a tongue, so it cannot taste anything, but it tastes sweet or delicious to us because we can taste the delicious cake. Taste in this sense is a linking verb because the cake can't actively taste, so taste is a linking verb. And there we have the diagram already set up, but you don't have to do that right now. Just leave that. I had it not programmed to come in at the right time. 2 qualifications of noun 1 in 1. It has to follow a linking verb, except in a question. It has to follow a linking verb. So if you have an action verb, then that next noun is not going to be a noun 1. It has to follow a linking verb. And number 2, it has to be another name for the subject. In other words, it must rename the subject. It has to follow a linking verb and rename the subject. Here is an example. Jane was our friend. I see the verb was, and we know was is not an action verb. There are 2 possibilities for was. First of all, was can be used as a helping verb. He was walking down the street. Was and walking are together, work together. But I see no action verb after was. Do you? Our is not a verb. So was here is either a be verb or a linking verb, and you haven't even learned about be verbs yet. But that is an option that it could be. You must see the whole sentence in order to know what verb it is. We know it's a verb. Jane is our subject. Friend is another noun in the sentence that is not in a prepositional phrase. We have was as the linking verb. Jane is the subject. Jane was what? Well, it's not a direct object because it's not receiving an action verb, so it can't be a direct object. That's not the sentence pattern. A linking verb has a noun 1 after it, or the next sentence pattern, which you haven't learned yet, has a linking verb. Friend is a noun, and it renames Jane, right? Because we could say our friend is Jane, or our friend was Jane. Friend is a noun that renames Jane that also follows a linking verb. That means it is a predicate nominative, which is a noun 1. This is how the diagram works. Noun, linking verb, noun 1. Jane was friend. Then we're going to put our right beneath it at a slant. That's a possessive pronoun. That's where you can put that possessive pronoun. How to find the noun 1? You ask, is the verb a linking verb? I would say very good possibility since that is on the linking verb list. It could possibly be a be verb because we've learned be verbs, just haven't learned the sentence pattern. But once you know what it is, then you're going to have to decide whether it's a be verb or a linking verb. Then ask, does a noun that comes after the verb rename the subject? Let me mark this up a little bit here. Okay, first, is the verb a linking verb? Second, does a noun that come after the verb rename the subject? So if there's a noun here, you ask yourself, does it rename Jane? Friend. Friend is Jane. If so, that noun, this one right here, is the noun one, which means it's the predicate nominative. Now we are going to do some samples. Pause while you write these sentences. I will go ahead and read them first, but if I get going too fast for you, just hit the pause. Number 1, Vincent van Gogh was an artist. Vincent van Gogh was an artist. Number 2, Theo and Vincent were brothers. Theo and Vincent were brothers. Number 3, The Starry Night is my favorite painting. The Starry Night is my favorite painting. Number 4, Vincent was a good artist, but a bad friend. Number 5, let me read that one more time. Vincent was a good artist, but a bad friend. Number 5, are you a good friend? Number 5, are you a good friend? I want you to pause and go through each one, finding the linking verb, labeling it, then the subject, and then find the noun that renames that subject and call it your predicate nominative, noun 1. I will see you back in a few minutes. We are now going to see if you are correct in answering labeling the different sentences. Number 1, you should have the linking verb was. Vincent van Gogh is the subject. Artist is following a linking verb and is renaming the Vincent van Gogh. And I put the wrong thing there. There. Artist is your noun 1. It's a predicate nominative. Theo and Vincent were brothers. Linking verb is were. Theo, Vincent, 2 subjects. Brothers, noun 1. Number 3, The Starry Night is my favorite painting. Is, linking verb, Starry Night. And if it's called The Starry Night, but I don't really know for sure what the exact title of that painting is. Your subject is the linking verb, and painting is a noun that follows is, the linking verb, and renames the painting. Noun 1 is the painting. Predicate nominative renaming Starry Night. Number 4, Vincent was a good artist but a bad friend. Was is linking verb. Vincent is a subject. We have 2 predicate nominatives here. Vincent was artist, noun 1. Vincent was friend, noun 1. Number 5, we have a question. Now remember, it said except in a question, things would be different. A linking verb, that it will follow a linking verb except in a question. It will follow linking verb except in a question. So let's see here. Are you a good friend? Now here's the linking verb right here, are. But the noun coming after the are is not the predicate nominative because this is a question. You is the subject. You, a question always throws things off. You are, noun 1 is friend because it's the noun that's following the linking verb and it's renaming you. For number 1, if to diagram, let's just diagram the first two since that's all I have here. Vincent Van Gogh, I'm shortening it, was artist. And then because there is the article there, we're going to add "an" right here. If there's more words beyond that, don't worry about it. Then we have Theo and Vincent. Now, because we have two, I have the new diagram for number two. Because we have a compound subject, we will put Theo here, Vincent here. Then there will be a dotted line down here in which you will put "and." And it's very hard for me to write that in. You'll put "and" there. Were, here's the linking verb. Brothers is the predicate nominative, the noun one. We have nothing to put here, so you don't have to worry about that. You don't even have to draw that line. If you don't have anything to put, you do not have to draw the line. And that is how you diagram. And you are finished with these notes. So let's practice a little bit. These are pictures of my family. This is my daughter. Ariana is my daughter. I am going to mark these so you can see the sentence pattern. Linking verb is. Ariana is a subject. Daughter comes after the linking verb. It is a noun and it renames Ariana. So that has to be the predicate nominative, which is the noun one. I'm not going to diagram these. My husband is a fireman. Is the linking verb. Husband is the subject. It's a regular noun. Fireman is the noun. It's a noun and it follows the linking verb and it renames husband. So it is a predicate nominative. My husband is a fireman. The pitcher is my son. Is my linking verb. Pitcher is the subject. What noun comes after the linking verb? Son. That is correct. So that is the predicate nominative. Does it rename pitcher? Pitcher is my son. I could say the son. My son is the pitcher. You can, with the predicate nominatives, you can a lot of times flop the sentence around. My husband is a fireman. The fireman is my husband. Fireman, husband are linked together. The pitcher is my son. My son is the pitcher. My daughter is Ariana. Ariana is my daughter. You can switch them out any way you want with that. I want you to make 3 sentences. I want you to make 3 sentences using the nouns, the 2 nouns below that I have under each picture. The first one is Steve Irwin, crocodile hunter. The next one is George Washington, president. And the other one is underground station. You may pause. I hope you were able to not have any trouble with this. Let's see what you got. You should have something that says Steve Irwin was the crocodile hunter, or the crocodile was Steve Irwin. If you got that, I want you to go ahead and label your sentence with the subject, the linking verb, and noun one. If you did not get it, you need to pause now and write one of those sentences. If you added adjectives in there, that's okay, but Steve Irwin and crocodile hunter should be in those same places. Number 2, you should have George Washington was the first president, or was a president, or was a good president, however you want to put it, but you need to have George Washington was, and then president after was. Or you can switch it around and say, our first president was George Washington. The underground and station, these are in London, if you've ever been to London. For this sentence, you could say, the underground is a subway station. The subway station is the underground. Okay, I don't like that sentence as much, but as long as you can see how it works. The subway stations in London is the underground. You could say that makes a little bit more sense. You could say with an apple, the red apple is a red delicious. Okay, you got to name that apple. There's many different things. You may have a dog. My dog is a Labrador Retriever. Labrador Retriever and dog are two nouns that go together. A lot of times, metaphors actually. Have you ever heard of a metaphor? A metaphor is when you say something, a noun is something else that is not a real thing. For example, if I said, my brother, which I don't have a brother, so I can say this, my brother is a monster. He's not really a monster, and that just might mean that he's not really a very nice person, right? But he's not really a monster. When you use something that a noun to describe a person, but they're really not that noun. It's just describing how they are, what type of person they might be, or maybe just something in general. Then you have a metaphor. I want you to look here and tell me which ones are metaphors and which ones are not. So, for example, number one, Mrs. Santor is a teacher. Teacher and Mrs. Santor's, yeah, I can be a teacher. That's true. So that is not a metaphor. That's a fact. I am a teacher. That's a fact. But when you use a noun to describe to rename somebody else that they aren't really that noun, then you have a metaphor. So I don't mean if you said Mrs. Santor is a doctor, no, that wouldn't be a metaphor. But if you said Mrs. Santor is an angel, well, I'm not a real angel, but maybe you think I'm really, really nice and very helpful. And so you think of me as an angel. Then that would be a metaphor. Mrs. Santor is an angel. The boy is a soldier. Could the boy be a soldier? Yeah, it's not a metaphor. The boy could be a soldier. That would not be a metaphor. Number three, my mom is a rock. Now, what does that mean? My mom is a rock. Is your mom really a rock? Because if she is a rock, that would be really, really strange. But when you call someone a rock, that means someone that you can depend on, someone that stands strong, that is going to help you. You can always depend on them. They're always going to be there for you. Just like if I built my house on a rock, that rock is going to be a sure thing. If I build it on sand and the heavy storms come and I live in a low land, that's not a really good place to live. But if I'm on a rock, it's a strong foundation. When I say my mom is a rock, that means my mom is strong foundation for me. Always depend on her. She'll always be there. My mom is a rock. A rock is a noun, but it's not really what your mom is. Your mom's a person, but it is telling us what your mom is like and using a noun to describe her. That is a metaphor. My mom is a rock. Ariana is a real peach of a girl. Now, do you really think Ariana is an actual peach for me to eat? Or is peach just because peaches are really good. If you like peaches, they're really good. They're great to have in uh, desserts. It's I love having a peach for a snack. When you say Ariana's a real peach of a girl, that means just like peaches are a great fruit, Ariana's a great girl. So would that be a metaphor or not a metaphor? That would be a metaphor. Very good with that. I think you understand by using predicate nominatives, writers can make an implied comparison. And that's what that is, an implied comparison. My mom is a rock. You're comparing her to a rock. That's a good thing. Form metaphors by finishing the following. Silence is, what is silence? You don't have to do one for every single one. Joy is a gift. It should say joy, not joys. Joy is a gift. Laughter is good medicine. Laughter is medicine. Honesty is the best policy. Policy and honesty are two things that are good. Friendship is a treasure. Having a good friend or golden. Freedom is a gift. Freedom is, what else could freedom be? For us here in the United States, freedom is a gift. Time is, have you ever heard time is money? Time is money. That means don't waste my time because I'm losing money. If I'm working and trying to get something done, time is money. I've got to get it done to get paid. You may come up with some other things. Secrecy, sadness is. It's fun to use metaphors when writing a poem. Predicate nominatives as metaphors. Here are some examples. Books are the mirrors of the soul. So what are books? Mirrors. Mirrors and books. Is the subject here. Are is the linking verb. Mirrors is the mirrors is the predicate nominative. Of the soul is a prepositional phrase. Happiness is the china shop. Love is the bull. Happiness is a quality, so that is a noun. Is a linking verb. Shop would be your noun one. And then we have another one in that little quote there. Love is another quality. That's a subject. Is linking verb. And bull is a noun. Love is a bull. Love is the bull. So happiness is the china shop, but love is the bull that comes in and wrecks your happiness. Now that's obviously from someone who's been hurt a lot by love. As you can imagine what a bull does in a china shop. If music is a place, I really like this one. If music is a place, so music is place, place is your predicate nominative. Now we have a whole bunch of them because there's a lot of metaphors here. Jazz is the city. City is the predicate nominative, renaming jazz. Folk is the wilderness. What is the predicate nominative? Wilderness, renaming folk. Rock is the road. What is the predicate nominative? Road, you got it. Classical is a temple. Temple is the predicate nominative. You can see there's three more here. Life is a journey. Life is your subject, is linking verb, journey, predicate nominative. You may want to look up quotes that are metaphors. May just want to Google metaphors and see some metaphors that you like, and then find that sentence pattern in there. Noun, linking verb, noun one. That would be a fun activity to do, just to come up with couple of them, 2 or 3. I like this bottom one by Mother Teresa. I'm a little pencil in the hand of a writing God who is sending a love letter to the world. So what is she saying she is? A pencil. She's a predicate nominative, or the pencil's a predicate nominative there. You have 4 options for your assignment, and you do not need to, you only need to do 1, okay? And I will have a worksheet. Oh, actually, you have a quiz. You have a quiz to do. And then I would like to give you one extra assignment. I am going to ask you to look up quotes. Look up 5 quotes, write them down, just short quotes, write them down. But you need to look up metaphors. Call them metaphors in a quote. And then find those and write them down and then do the sentence pattern, noun, linking verb, noun 1. And I would like to see which quotes you find and come up with. Option 1, make up 5 of your own quotes using the noun, linking verb, noun 1 sentence pattern and put your quotes on your picture. Here's a quote that I made up. Travel is a living book filled with adventure. So what is travel? Book. Book. That's my noun 1. A dog is a boy's best friend. Dog and friend. Dog is a subject. Friend is that predicate nominative renaming dog. See if you can come up for one with a lighthouse. You may be able to. The lighthouse is, and come up with your own. See what you can figure out with that. That can be part of your 5 if you choose to do this option. Option 2, choose a character trait or quality to write or find metaphors about. It can be a positive or negative quality. Make a poster with a collage of the metaphors you write or find. So you may want to write more or just find some. So I chose the quality love. You could do happiness, sadness, anger, and you're going to look up love metaphor. Love it or sadness metaphor, happiness metaphor, joy metaphors. And that's where you'll find those different metaphors. Love is a promise, love is a souvenir, all the way through here. Love is a weapon, love is a story, love is a battlefield, love is a fruit. Those are all predicate nominatives describing love. All of those nouns, promises, souvenir, story, weapon, battlefield, and fruit, all describe, rename. Let's not say describe, rename love. Not describe, because that's actually for the next sentence pattern. They rename. It's a noun that renames love. Because it's a metaphor, it helps us to understand how the author is describing love. This is option 3. Now, this is a little bit more challenging. Some of you may want to take up on this challenge, and others may just be like, no, this is too much for me. And that's okay. It's wherever your brain is at the moment you need to sit down to do this assignment. Write a 4 metaphor poem using the same subject for each verse. Illustrate each verse either by using pictures off the internet or drawing them. Here you see an example. Poetry is a fingerprint. And then it goes on to describe why poetry is like a fingerprint. Unique words, swirl-like lines, never touching, creating a one-of-a-kind impression. It goes on to explain then poetry is a valentine. Unique words, again, waiting to win the heart. Poetry is a river. It goes through and explains it. Poetry is a gift. The wise person saves his gift for a special day and a special reason, then gives it away. You can write a 4 metaphor poem. It doesn't have to rhyme, but I would like to see 4 metaphors for one subject. This is probably the easiest one, the least challenging. And that is okay if you want to do this one. I'm not saying that in a way that means you shouldn't do it because it's too easy. I had fun doing this and wanted you to have a chance to do it. Color poem, you're going to choose any color you want, and it's very simple. Red. Red is a fire engine. Red is a sunset. Red is an apple. Red is a strawberry. Red is a rose. Red is a crayon. Red is a stocking. Red is a color. You can see all of the noun ones at the end there of the sentence. Red is my subject all the way down. Is my linking verb all the way down. And then you have the noun ones at the end all the way down. Engine, sunset, apple, strawberry, rose, crayon, stocking, color. Now, this is fine if you just do this, but if you really want to be a little bit more challenged and get creative with it, then I would like for you to write, let me clear this screen real quick. I would like for you to write. Now, I don't have the same pretty background. Let me add this background. Yeah. To be more challenging, you may want to take or add to the poem that you just did by describing a little bit more that predicate nominative. Here I put red is a shiny, clanging fire engine. So engine is red. Red is a warm and glowing sunset. Sunset is predicate nominative, renaming red. Red is an apple, crunchy and sweet. Apple renaming red. Red is a juicy strawberry. Red is a rose blooming in the summer. Red is a crayon that I use to color. Now, in this sentence, we have two sentence patterns, but as long as you have the subject, linking verb, predicate nominative, which is crayon, and red, crayon being the predicate nominative, then you've got your sentence pattern that I'm looking for. Red is a stocking filled with delights. Red is a color that brings me happiness. So again, we have red and color. And then the other things are other parts of speech that we're not going to get into. You will be seeing a video with this time to grade. This is the quiz 2 that you just received for today's lesson. And you will be able to grade this with a video that I will send in a few days. That is it for the lesson today. I hope that you really enjoyed this sentence pattern. It's probably one of my favorite sentence patterns. I hope that you are able to choose one of those projects, and you're welcome to do all 4 if you really want to. Please send them to me as you finish them so I can look at them, and I look forward to seeing them. Have a good day, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.